Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, ladies, you are back for the next episode of the Purpose, Power, and Profit Society. I am your host, Kymberly Smith, aka your Purpose Catalyst, and this is your home where you find out how to identify your purpose, transform your pain into power, and activate your creative genius so you can start building multiple streams of income. I'm so hyped tonight because if anybody knows anything about me, you know that I am all about living on mission and making sure that you are fulfilling purpose and that it is affecting the world. So tonight is super, super, super important to me and very close to my heart. And I have my guest with me, Myesha Collins. She is going to talk about working the nonprofit world. And I think this is amazing. We're going to talk about why it's important. And I'm excited to have Myesha with me. Myesha, kill it. Tell them all about yourself and why you're in the building today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Miss Kim. My name is Myesha, everyone. I am the founder of Blue Girls Turn Gold, which is a nonprofit organization. And basically what I did was turn my purpose into a nonprofit. And I'll go into how I did that later. But basically what I wanted to do was create something for the masses. And I knew that where I was, I didn't have the resources. So I started looking into nonprofit. I worked for a nonprofit previously, Goodwill of North Georgia, for 5 years. I was blessed with the opportunity to get that information and those resources. So once I left there and I started, even as I was working, I've always tried to help people. I just didn't know what my ultimate purpose was. So I would dibble dabble, help with the coworkers, oh, you need me to help you figure out how to get a raise. I know how to figure that out. They're like, oh, can you write this up for me? It's a rebuttal for my, I know how to do things like that. So it was kind of like I was mentoring them, in a certain kind of way. But once you get into management, it's hard to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my conflict came into play.
So let's talk about the name for a second. Why Blue Girls Turn Gold?
So Blue Girls Turn Gold derived from, of course, when people think blue, they think sad. Mm-hmm. I'm more related to not knowing. So I look at blue as unknowing, not aware. And gold, of course, we know is royalty, riches, and that's knowing how great you are. And I know I went from blue to gold, which was not knowing how great I was and what my purpose is, to now I don't know nothing else but my purpose.
Wow, I love that. I feel like every guest that I have ever had on shares a whole different perspective on things for me. And it's so cool because if you ever thought that you were out here in these streets, like with all the answers, you find out you talk to at least like 2 people and you're like dumb as bricks. And there's room.
Literally.
Like, this is a whole new journey. Like, for those people who feel like they're unteachable, listen to this podcast because I promise you will learn something every episode. And that was good. Like, Blue Turn Gold. I'm so glad that I asked that question. Because that's so good.
We're just creators, and that's what we do. That's what we do.
So I wanted to have you on because I think this is important. And so, y'all, we talked a little bit before we started the recording. So we're going to let you in on our little conversation. I want people to understand that you don't have to necessarily jump into a business the minute you find out your purpose. It's like, oh, I'm called to help little girls. Boom, I'm going to start a business. I think that one of the most important things, and I think it's a channel that we don't tap into often. One of the most valuable channels that we have is to go and work with a nonprofit, especially if you're just learning your purpose, especially if you are just overcoming and really becoming whole. So if you're overcoming past traumas, you're really becoming whole, you're working in that space of I'm healing or I have healed, I know what my purpose is, I know who I'm called to really affect in this world, and I want to get started immediately. I'm saying go to a nonprofit and immediately say, how can I volunteer? Because the truth of the matter is, it's not the way that we want to serve, it's how our purpose should really serve you.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so I wanted Myesha to come on so that we could talk about what that looks like. One, when someone comes and says, how can I help in your nonprofit? What can I do? What are the areas in which you need assistance? So let's start there because I have so many questions for you. It's ridiculous.
Oh gosh, look. So, oh goodness, and I got so much to tell you. So you said earlier, creativity genius, right?
Yes.
So I am part of the Genius is Common movement, which is led by Bruce George, the founder of Deaf Poetry Jam. And my genius is creativity, right? So I'm saying all that to say we all do have a genius, and that's part of one of our unique workshops.
Oh, I love
Tapping into that. So your purpose, your genius, whatever it is that you're supposed to be here to do, we all have that natural seed there. So that's one of the workshops that we do have just to start that mindset change. Because like you said, if you want to start serving a bigger community, you can't do it by yourself. Like that's not gonna happen. So you really need buy-in. A lot of times I get more help from people wanting to volunteer to help versus me having people to come to the workshops, which is interesting to me. So it's kind of like I need the community involvement so that they understand that really my mission is to help them, even though I know that's not the perception. It's kind of like there's some kind of disconnect and I'm not sure what causes it. But for me to serve the community as a whole, I thought being nonprofit was the best way to go, but I didn't always think that way. And I always wasn't working, so direct in it. So stepping out there and then trying to just go into a nonprofit, I was blessed to have the background into, Goodwill, North Georgia, and having resources there. And that's what's helped me because you're not going to know everything, but all you need is a resource.
That's true. That is so true. That is so true. So what happens if, like for me, I love helping women identify their purpose. If I came to you and, Blue Girls Turn Gold, how can I help? Do I need to bring a program with me, or do I need to have at least my expertise that I'm walking into, or should I just come with a clean slate and say, hey, I'm here to help? What's the best way to manage?
Literally for me, I'm into ensuring that I empower the people around me because I want them to empower me. So I want them to tell me, what do you enjoy doing? Because everybody might not be working in what they enjoy doing. But when you come to the nonprofit, you're like, hey, I'm a nurse, but I like to plan events. So can I help you plan events? So basically I have that open so that people can volunteer what they would like to offer. So I don't, put that creative control over it because I just want the resource available.
I love that. And I think that's the easiest way for people to decide, okay, wait, I thought that was my purpose. Maybe I'm wrong.
Right. It's like, so you don't want to do this every day? Are they getting on your nerves?
Right. Yeah. Right. I didn't know all this was involved. I think that the volunteerism also allows them to realize the minute details that are involved in executing purpose that they may not have thought of. If it comes down to inventory, it comes down to transportation of their demographic. If it comes down to, oh wait, I want to help women, but they have children. What do they do with their children while I'm helping? I think those are the things that we don't hone in on because we see the big picture and forget the little details that can spoil everything along the way. So my first thought about once you've identified your purpose, once you started, working through that whole healing process and understanding how it becomes your superpower so that you can affect the world, then find a nonprofit that works where you think your purpose would be manifested best. The expression of your purpose is what makes people so unique. So do you find that you could have 5 volunteers who all like to do the same thing, but they all execute differently?
Totally different. And then it's like, oh, okay, so now we need to work on one of our other workshops, which is effective communication. So you're blue, you're orange. I'm going to need you to do this. So everybody has their own genius, so it's like, let's figure out how to work it together. But yeah, that happens a lot. Everybody want to do the cupcakes. Okay, we don't need no more cupcakes. Um, anybody want to come up here and help me write some of these programs? So it's just it works out because I really try to have the conversation with anybody that volunteers to know how I feel about it. There's no, there's no egos. This is for us. So, and I know you still have to be business minded, which I am, but I've just always been a very straightforward. I mean, I was in the military. I'm a very straightforward person. So I'm gonna let you know what I'm about. And if you're not mimicking it in spirit and in guidance, this might not be your boat. Because I'm not going to stress myself out while I'm trying to do my purpose.
Exactly.
That's enough,
Exactly. So the other thing that I want to talk about is I think that we don't look at nonprofits as a viable option if we decide that yes, we need a business or we need an organization.
Right.
We immediately jump to for profit because we think if we start a nonprofit, it means that we have to live in poverty too. It means we have to have public housing, means that we have to have Section 8, means that my kids might not eat, means we might have to split a whole dinner on $3.50. And that's not necessarily the case.
At all.
Let's talk about that too. What it looks like to run a nonprofit if you decide that you want to be truly missional. And I think that is more of a 100% missional endeavor.
I definitely, if I wasn't mission based, I wouldn't be nonprofit because it's almost like that's the foundation. That's I guess the unity that ties everybody together is the nonprofit portion. So, it is more what I've started to learn that it is run like a for-profit. And that's what I didn't know before. So no, you don't have to be broke. It is good to get grants, but there's so many different ways to get money, network from good, registering at Benevity to get volunteers. There's so many different ways we can get volunteers, money. So you don't have to be broke, but for me, it's I know eventually it's going to create an abundance of what I need anyway. So I'm not really worried about the monetary part, even though it's on my mind. But you in any business, whether it's for profit, you're going to have losses, and it's going to be a balance. So you just have to figure out if you want to do mission based or if you do want to do profit. And you can always change your mind later, but the sooner you start a nonprofit, the better, because you do have to accumulate so much time as a nonprofit for certain programs and things like that. So that would be the thing that might work against you if you choose for profit first.
Okay. Now, have you ever known anyone to build I believe it's a social enterprise where they have the benefits of both the for-profit and nonprofit? Was that something you thought about before you decided to go into full nonprofit status?
Yeah, I did. And I guess and it's so, I don't know, it was kind of hard for me because for me, it's kind of like I'm connected to Blue Girls Turn Gold. So I'm kind of like, well, if there's no Blue Girls Turn Gold, then that means I'm not here. So it was kind of like I haven't totally disconnected Myesha from it. So the nonprofit portion of it is Blue Girls Turn Gold, but I've learned that, let's say you have a nonprofit. If I no longer want to have Blue Girls Turn Gold, I can turn all the funds and everything over to you. And that was another thing that I learned that they don't, let you know. Like, you don't just dissolve the nonprofit. So, if you end up having to part ways, you can give it to another 501c3.
I had no idea.
Yeah, the little tricks. It's a lot. And that's why I'm saying it is a big endeavor. Like, I'm learning every day. So it's a big endeavor. So you do want to be sure that that's what you want to do.
So what were the deciding factors for you that made you decide nonprofit is where it's at for me?
The interesting part is I think it was me more understanding where we are as a culture right now. For some reason, and you may not, I don't know if you see it a lot, but for some reason, when you're especially a woman of color and you have a nonprofit, it's almost like it's easier for people to give you things, because it's almost like with a nonprofit, you're verified by the government. So I'm more willing to help you versus, okay, you just want to help women. Well, why should I help you? And I really feel like that's what I was getting, to be honest. So for me to be able to fulfill my mission, I felt like the nonprofit was going to have the broader range for me.
Got it.
So it literally was like a strategic move, as much as it was for the purpose.
I like that. Now, is there a certain amount of time that you recommend that someone volunteer before they make a decision on whether or not they should launch out and either A, start a business, B, start their own nonprofit, or 3, seek a career in? Because it doesn't necessarily mean they need to do either. They could just change careers. Once you identify that purpose, it does not mean you have to go out on your own. You just may be able to find a career that allows you to operate in that, and it's a matter of a resume shift.
Yep.
Have you thought about, or what is your recommended amount of time before you say someone should start to rethink that process?
It definitely is going to be a little bit of time, only because there's so many levels to it. It's like if I ask somebody to come watch you, it depends on what aspect of, what they're going to learn from you, because you can go work, let's say Goodwill, North Georgia. You can go look at the retail side, but then there's a whole quality assurance side, and then you got the human resources side. So if you can get in the career field or in a nonprofit and work it, I would say, just at least 6 to 9 months. But that's with you getting mentors and reaching out to accounts payable and saying, hey, how do you guys handle when you have to do invoices? Because the more you can learn with assistance, the easier it's going to be, because you're never going to be able to do it alone. And when you first start up, you're not going to have all the money. So as much as even though it's going to stress you out, as much as you can do by yourself, you want to try to get as much information as you can to, just to get you off the ground.
Oh my God, I forgot my question just that quick.
Sorry.
I know.
I was getting long-winded. I should have got a sip of water.
No, it wasn't that at all.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking about 3 different things at the same time.
I'm trying to think, what was I talking about?
I don't know. I really did just
the universe just did that, because I don't even know what we were talking about, and I know it's about the time, suggested time.
Yeah,
that somebody should work.
Amount of time, but still, how long did it take you to get your 501c3 approved?
The approval now. I have a contact for that. So 30 days. Once I said this is what I was going to do, the process, once I submitted my paperwork till I got my paperwork, 30 days. Might have been a little bit less.
What should anyone expect as far as fees are involved when it comes to filing for a 501c3?
For me, so I did partial. So I did some through LegalZoom because I wanted to make sure that everything was done legally correct. The actual 501c3, I think that application may be $800 total. But the qualifications, if you're faith, religion-based, or education-based, those are the higher, more approved categories. And basically, the contact that I have that, I'll share with you, is basically a guarantee as long as you fall into certain parameters. So they're not going to make you pay for something if your program or your business plan doesn't fit directly into what a 501c3 requires. So I lucked up with that instead of going through different people and nobody really being able to guarantee the status. Because a lot of people waste money and it's like, well, I don't know if it's going to be approved, because you really don't have control unless you know what you're doing. So I'll just put it that way. You want to get people that know what they're doing.
Now that's the truth. Okay, so that lends itself to two questions. We talked about individuals that were interested in volunteering or starting a nonprofit should have a volunteer or should have a mentor or a coach. What should they look for in when they are just kind of looking at who should I select? I think that's one of the biggest things because people can say anything, but what stands out as these tried and true character traits that we should?
Wow. I always look for honest leaders.
Okay.
You'll always be around people that are moving, but you need to find out why they're moving. So for me, because my vision was so large, I couldn't just pick a mentor that was, I guess you want to say, shifty or temporary. Like I really had to believe and trust in this person. So you really want to find somebody that you actually believe in, because you're not going to be receptive to anything that they give you if you don't believe in. They basically need to be where you're trying to get to, or you're probably trying to surpass them, but you need to get to this step as well. So my biggest thing is just try to go with your gut and intuition. Nothing should feel forced, and I had to learn that the hard way, because you try to, when you think you want to help people and other people are just like you, and that's not really the case. Everybody has a purpose, but their purpose ain't the purpose, if you know what I mean. So
people just haven't truly identified it yet. They're like,
yeah,
this is it. Maybe not.
Right. And then it's exhausting for me because I'm like, I want to help you, but I know that you're not there yet, and I don't want you to feel like I don't want to help you. But I'm like, this is literally a lifestyle change. Like this is, you can't just be like, oh, I'm tired in 10 minutes, or it's a lot to work. And the thing that's hard about it is if you're not a natural, if it's not naturally into you to just want to help people, it's going to burn you out, because you're going to be like, why am I killing myself for everybody else when I could just be worrying about myself?
And that's not the way it goes.
But when it's your purpose, you don't have no choice.
Exactly.
So,
I think there's a level of tenacity that's built throughout the process, and it is processing. So when you go from just saying I have the potential to be this to wait, I need to discover my purpose, there is a shift that has to occur. And let's not talk about the perspectives, the mindset changes, the behavioral changes, the
tears.
Changes, that you have to go through in order to say, okay, wait, I need to find out where my power lies. What am I powerful in? What is this thing that's been plaguing me that I'm supposed to solve?
Yep.
I'm just not supposed to be creative, because you could be creative all day and never get a check or never affect anyone or never create information. But what is it that involves my purpose that answers someone else's problem? I think in that process alone, you begin to transform, you begin to become this new person. And even as days go by, you start to see these changes, and it does become almost physiological. Like your whole persona changes. And people notice, and you may never even know what they're thinking until like a small conversation or a conversation you hear about, or whatever the case may be. You never hear it, but you realize that people are looking at you being processed, and maybe they don't see the back end of it,
right?
But they know who you were, and now they see who you are.
Exactly.
And
oh man,
tenacity with that. There has to be persistence with that. There has to be even a loyalty to the purpose.
Yeah.
You can't let anyone steer you away from that, because you've already done that.
Yeah. And what did that get you?
Yeah, like you don't steer away from that. It's time for them at that point to be loyal to who they're really supposed to be.
Which is for them. And that's the part. We're always looking outside to try to save the world. And it's like, but you over here about to fall apart though.
Yep. And that's the reason why the transformation is necessary. To me, it's like a 3-step process. And that's the way it is. And you can't skip from I've learned my purpose to, oh, let me make some coins from it. No. I mean, you may get like 25 cents.
But it's not going to be stable. It's not going to be consistent. No, it's not going to be in abundance.
No, and it's not going to be transformational. It should be transcendent.
Yeah.
It should affect generations to come. If you really are
exactly
serious about your purpose, that thing should be so powerful that people can't help but allow it to change the way that their families change.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about. It's like that, and that's where you got to affect people at.
Yeah, I don't believe in anything else. I'm not going to change from it. I
won't
hear from it.
No, because
before I take away, that's what it is.
And because you got to understand, like, this was my experience, and I know, like you said, I know what this was like.
Yep.
And I know I don't want to be over there no more.
Exactly. It's a whole mindset change, which is something that I'm talking about tonight with my group.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting. Have fun about that. They're going to be looking at you like, okay, Kim,
I know.
Just believe it and you'll achieve it, right? Okay.
It was their choice. Look, I gave them 3 choices and they were like, wait, okay, mindset. How about how to overcome mindset challenges? So this should be
that's gonna be interesting. You know, we set for the challenges. We get trained those like the back of our hand.
Yeah.
And oh God, it's so good when I get to actually talk and somebody actually gets what I'm saying. Because sometimes people are just like, yeah, okay. And I understand it because I've been there before. It's like, okay, yeah, you got it all figured out. And it's like, no, I don't have it figured out. I'm just saying I get it now. I get it.
Right. And I think that's the key. There needs to be an aha moment. There needs to be a connection to the fact that, oh, wait, this has to change. I've lived way long enough and I've not been happy.
Nope.
So it's time
at all
to make a change. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You become happy, you find your purpose, and you start affecting people's lives, and you start making money while you're doing it.
Oh my gosh!
Whatever.
What?
Like you should want all that.
That's what I said. I'm like that's and the crazy part is like in the back of your mind and in your subconscious, you know that's what you deserve, but you're not going for it because it's not like you don't think you deserve it.
Yeah, it's the truth. And I think some people just don't know how.
Oh, that's exactly it. You know, it's like, and especially if you're not around people that have paved the lane or you've been able to see it, then you definitely don't know how. And sometimes you don't want to ask. Right. And sometimes you can ask, but you still have to do the work. Nobody's going to be able to tell you a magic spell.
So
not going to happen.
The work part is a whole nother, because you can get as many trainings on how to get 35K in 30 days as you want, but there is so much work to be done. And I think that part of it really permeated our environments for so long till we became burned out by it. And so now it's time to refocus and say, but wait, I missed 29 steps before I could get to the 35K.
Exactly.
And so
and you want that to be consistent, and it has to be in your mind first. So
yes. And 35K one time is not enough to sustain you
at all. You know that it's not that the little check that come once a year. Like you don't want to keep doing that.
No.
You work way more than that.
Exactly. So I am excited. I'm really happy that you joined us to talk about how to really involve yourself in the community as it pertains to your purpose. I think that's the first place people should get to know their demographic.
Yeah.
Where are your people? What are they thinking? What do they need? How can you?
What do they need? And that's the thing. What do they need? Not what do you want to give them?
Exactly.
You know how we do. Okay, I got this pretty rose for you. And they're like, what? Y'all tell me, what do y'all need?
Exactly.
Okay, let's work around that.
Exactly. Because if your purpose doesn't answer their question or their problem, that's not where you belong.
Yep, exactly.
It's important to know that they need a certain thing and you are there to provide the solution.
Yep.
It was great having you on.
Thank you.
Myesha Collins with Blue Girls Turn Gold. Where can they find you and what's going on in your world?
Oh my gosh. So look, yesterday I was nominated here in Virginia for Best Activist for the 7 cities.
Oh my God, congratulations!
Right? So I won, girl. I won. So I was like, oh my God. So that was exciting. And it's just funny because like I'm excited, but I'm excited because I'm like, oh my God, that's more exposure. Like,
yes.
you know, that's all I'm thinking about is like, okay, how I'm trying to get it out faster and faster. So that was great. Blue Girl Turn Gold, of course, is on Amazon. I just released a book that we were talking about a little bit before about how I went from from employee to entrepreneur. And it is called Reclaiming My Time from the 9-to-5 Grind, and it's on Amazon as well. I have another anthology coming out, From Grief to Grind, with Andrea A. Moore. She was just in Essence.
Yes.
In April, and that is August 20th. I'm excited about that.
That is so awesome.
And then the last book I have, I'm just been a writing food, Kim.
Apparently.
I actually got involved with Miss April Franks and Linda.
Yes, I love her.
I'm gonna be in their project. I know it's a relaunch, but Linda's book was called Releasing the Shackles of Shame.
Yes, I saw that in the group. Yes.
So I'm gonna be in that. So I know I'm going to Tustin, California in August to speak at her event. So it's a lot going on. I'm just excited, and I'm just trying to pace myself, but I'm excited.
That is so good. Now, where can they find you on social media?
Social media, so Instagram is Blue Girls Turn Gold. Twitter is Blue Turn Gold, and Facebook is Blue Girl with no S Turn Gold. Check me out.
Yes. Myesha Collins, thank you so much for coming to the 3P Society and blessing your knowledge about nonprofits and how to get into the world of them and how to invest our time wisely. I think that's so crucial. Listen, this is the Purpose, Power, and Profit Society podcast. I am your host, Kymberly Smith. You can check me out on Instagram at Purpose_Catalyst and Facebook at Purpose Catalyst. Check me out. So excited to have you, and I cannot wait for you to check out the next episode. Bye.
Oh, yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kim.